Hello everybody, this is Craig, San Juan Island, state of Washington, working on my CNC. I'm posting another separate video on the work I did the other day on the laser. But since the last week I've accomplished what I think is a fair amount. I got most of my components mounted. This is the refurbished cabinet that I put a clear view into it, and I got some on-off and digital thermometer mounted, an emergency stop. On the right over here is a satellite power supply, and inside is my system that I'm putting together. I got 5 drivers. And the way this thing works, basically the power AC 110 comes in over on the right and gets through a breaker, and that breaker feeds this on-off switch in the front, and that on-off switch feeds this power strip, which my fans are plugged into, and my 12 volt and 5 volt power supplies that are mounted over here are also plugged in. And then it also feeds this contactor over here on the right. So when that AC 110 line gets turned on, that contactor is thrown, and the 220 power that's fed from the wall here up through the bottom, through its own breaker, and then to the top of the contactor gets switched on. And now 220 voltage comes through this bottom pipe into the power supply housing, and light comes on, fan comes on, goes through a filter and to convert it into 70 volts DC, and then 4 channels of that come back up through the top, and through the wire channels gets fed to these drivers. Now the last driver on the end, I'm sharing the A-axis and the Z-axis, sharing the same power leg of the 70 volts. Down here, because I'm adding the laser, I'm going to have to switch between rotor and laser. This little green box here right here is the laser driver. So there'll be a on-off-on switch that'll pull in these 6 relays to switch whether the signal is going to the laser. That'll shut off in a minute. Or to this driver here for the spindle. That happens all the time. And over here, 5 volt, 12 volt supplies will get fed up to the top to their own. One on the right is a 12 volt circuit breaker. The one on the left is a 5 volt circuit breaker. Got some bus DIN facilities here, and they'll feed this ESS smooth stepper. That's what it's called. And this is a C62 board, and everything gets connected through Ethernet cables. And the interesting thing about this, because I'm bringing up all my cabling up through this port here from the machine that's just right behind me over here, to this point I have not had to solder anything, no solder joints. So I find that to be somewhat of a plus. But I haven't got the motors wired up or the spindle or anything yet. Nothing works except if I turn this on. Fans do come on, and I got an indicator light, fans on over there, power supplies are on, and I also have indicators that all 5 of these drivers are powered up. So these are my motors down here, and hopefully I'll start, I'm going to hook these up before I put them on the machine to make sure the whole system works. And in the front, I have a digital thermometer to tell me how cool or warm the inside of the cabinet is getting. There's going to be two more switches out on the front, one to control the switchover for the laser and one to control the pump for the cooling of the spindle. I've been watching some of the drawing that Dave Faulkner had sent me. It's been a lot of help. So that's it so far. I'll keep you posted. Thank you.